Alright, okay, we got another midnight repair here, and let's see, today we have got a laptop that most likely needs a replacement DC jack. So, and at the moment I'm actually on a rush to try and beat my wife, who's cooking me a midnight meal. So, she reckons I'm going to take longer than it takes for her to cook it. So, it's hopefully I don't ruin this computer while doing that. Anyway, the reason why I think this is the DC Jack is it came in a week or so ago. What's going on there? Oh great, missing screw. And the power pack was busted. I put a new power pack on, and it all seemed to work just dandy fine. But then it came back this week, not working again. But then when I wiggled the connector around, it started working again. So either the jack itself is stuffed, or the connectors on the back of the jack are stuffed, something like that. Fortunately, with these Toshibas, they just use a power cable off to the main logic board. It's not soldered directly onto the board, unlike some of the more common laptops I deal with. In some ways that's good, in some ways it's not. In this case it's nice and convenient. So I'm probably not going to get the whole thing finished before the food is ready. I will at least. And we have a flying screw. Looks like I loaded up the magnet too much. I better get the hard drive out. Just getting a little too zealous there, Paul. A little too zealous. Alright. Hard drive somewhere safe. Fairly sure we shouldn't need to take the memory out, but it's good to check. Every now and then I have found some laptops that, yes, there we go. Got two screws hidden under the panel. It's a conspiracy, I tell you. I lost another screw. Alright, I'm going to have to calm down because while I will get that screw, it's not the best of behaviour. There we go. There's that screw. Ah, that's right. Get this out. There we go. You just gotta work your way along until you find the weak spot. I need another magnet. Pit stops. For some reason, the only trouble I've found with putting the magnets on this side here is it seems to demagnetize the actual screwdriver, which makes it a bit useless for me. Because I really rely on that screwdriver magnetic. Alright, just put that over there. And let's see. Sometimes I have screws in here, and this time it appears not. So, let's see if we can split this frame open. There we go. The machines I'm not used to, I wouldn't really be doing any of this sort of racing stuff, but these particular units I do quite a lot of. Let's get these cables out. Wiggle. What else have we got? And we've got that one there. I use a double fingernail. No, my fingers are too fat these days. There we go. Alright, this touchpad. We're done. Look at the DC Jack. Come on, come on. To be honest, it doesn't look that messed up, but looks like I will replace it. It's a little bit corroded in there, but I wouldn't call it messed up. Let's get this motherboard up. Alright, I don't really need to lift it the whole way, just enough for me to get that out. Alright, so I have got, no doubt, quite a few replacements of this lying around. I'll just go get a new one, put it in there, we should be set. I'm going to have to probably call it a truce with the food maker and say, well, I've got it undone, my cable out before she was finished, but more than likely I'm not going to be able to get it back together quick enough, so we'll call it even. In the meantime, I'll just pause this and we'll come back to it later. Alright, we're back from having a midnight snack, and I spent about an hour looking for my replacement power lead. So this is it here. This is just a donor board one. I really probably should keep a couple in stock. They're common items. Yeah, I just want to check that it actually does work, which is pretty important, I suppose, considering that's what we need to repair. So plug this in, and we immediately get the charge light showing up just over here. I don't know if that's going to be picked up by the camera. Anyway, it straight away charges, and if I wiggle it around, wiggle, it doesn't flicker or anything like that, so that's good. Definitely was the charge cable before. Alright, now that that's all done, we can put it all back together. What I might do before I put it back together is change this lithium battery. Since this laptop's already a couple of years old, no harm in doing it. This is just one of those value-added service things you do. Before I do that, I should make sure I take the battery out. That's how I was able to tell that it was working, is I got a battery in here to make sure it charges up. Alright, okay, that's out. Just be careful when you've got the chassis apart, when you're lifting the lid, because there's no reinforcement on the top here on the hinges. It's a nice easy way to break those hinges off from the lower chassis bathtub housing, and you really don't want to have to fix those up on top of everything else. Okay, let's just flick this battery out. Come on, nice and easy. Go straight into the bin. Do not leave those things lying around. Pets or kids can easily pick them up, stick them in their mouth, and it is a very brutal way to die. So to be fair, these big ones would be pretty hard to swallow. Certainly the small ones, for things like hearing aids and all that, they've got a lot of trouble. I don't think there's anything else I need to do. Nope. Alright, let's get this chassis back on. Make sure I don't put some Captain tape down on there. You've probably seen when the case came off that there was masking tape everywhere. It's a pretty lousy, cheap way of bonding down some cables, because after a little while it just dries right out. And when it dries out, it crumbles off. It doesn't have to be beautiful or anything like that, it's just to stop the cables from being picked up and caught by other parts. Right, you guys are down. There. Definitely not the prettiest. check to make sure everything's there. Looking good. Okay. Oh, one thing I did which I didn't show during the off time was I checked the radiator and fan, make sure that didn't need cleaning out. Whenever you get a laptop open, take the time to check the radiator and cooler elements. Because often when you get it that far apart, it only takes you 5 more minutes to do it. And if you really want, you can tell the customer that it was an extra service, which it really was, and you can add a little bit of extra charge. So I'm just leaning back to get some tweezers. No, do not use those tweezers, Paul. Flip that up. Okay, that's aligned. That's plugged in. That's in. Wi-Fi's in. Okay. There's going to be lots of crunches and whatnot as you put all this down. Just reaching over for the keyboard items. Make sure your keyboard's sitting in nice and tight where it should be. That looks good. Alright. Where do I put those screws? Ah. Flippin' heck. Yep. Welcome to why you shouldn't do this stuff at midnight. Somebody forgot to put a screw into the main board to hold it down. Right. Boy. I think half the trouble is because I'm talking in these videos. My brain isn't fully operating on what I'm doing. Come on. What's holding you up? Funny thing is, I put that screw in before while the camera was off for another situation, and then I took it back out. That's sort of why I got distracted. Yeah, things are getting messy now. I don't like it when my bench starts crowding in on me. Alright, that's in. Let's try that again. And get that out of the way. This is what happens when mistakes happen. Everything else gets disorganized, and that can lead you to making other mistakes. So you got to be really careful. If you make one mistake, just take a few moments, ease up, and try not make additional mistakes, because we all make mistakes. It's inevitable. The trick is to try to notice them before you've gone too far, and then not try to make more mistakes when you're trying to fix the first one. And don't try and palm off the cost of your mistakes onto the customer. They're your mistakes. Don't be one of those low life service people make the customer feel like it's their fault and charge them for what was actually your fault. Now I know things can be difficult at times, and I know for a lot of us things are very financially tight, but you don't want to go down that road, because it won't take long. It'll only take one customer to have sufficient sense, and they'll work out that it wasn't their fault. They'll work out that it was your fault, and then the word will spread, and before you know it, you have absolutely no customers and you have got no credibility, and it is over for you. So just don't do it. Okay, to be fair, I've never done it myself, and I know I see plenty of other shops doing it, and it does get frustrating at times because you want to call them out, but if you do that, it tends to just make you look like a sour grapes person. You just have to hope sooner or later they get caught. And like I said, when they do, it's all over. Particularly in small towns, like this town's a small town. You can't get away with things. Alright, let's flip this over. And we start on our big blob. I did remagnetize this while the video was off. It's driving me insane that it wasn't picking up those screws. I'm sure everyone's got their own strategy. I like to usually start screwing from the centre and working my way out. I already put a screw in there. I did. Come on, come on. Ah. There we go. Yep. Let's put these flat ones in. And that way I can put the DVD drive back on. What? I can't believe this has lost its magnetization already. Okay. You're an idiot. Put the drive in first. Okay. Good to go with everything else. As usual, don't over tighten these things, just nip them up. You go over tightening them, you will suffer. You don't want to go breaking the threads, the captive nuts out of the plastic chassis. What have we got? One left. That's that one over there. And we've got a little Mr. 3mm here. That's our hard drive. Done. Done. Lock. Alright. Just move this over. Yep, immediately goes under charge. That's great. Just going to take the battery out. It's showing we have got power in, power up. Alright, that's good. That's what I like to see. Yeah, you probably can't see it. Anyway, it's up and running. That's what matters. And it's stable. Wiggle this around. It's not power cycling. So that's definitely fixed. Well, thanks for watching. Until next time.